Hey, it's Guido. Hope you had a good league start and had some fun as well. I started my league with Hexblast Inquisitor, and I just wanted to share my experience and my ideas while playing this build, right? And so let's start with the acts. Leveling was actually really good. I used Armageddon Brand, and before that I think Blazing Salvo, just Ignite with Flame Wall, and it was good. Like, that was my fastest leveling ever, and it was very comfortable, honestly. So that's a really big upside. And of course in the maps I switched to Hexblast, right? And the mapping process was pretty smooth. One of the main reasons is because I actually got a 6 link into like tier 3 or 4 map. I did try to farm, actually I was going to farm Divination card for a 6 link, but then I just dropped a couple of them. Yeah, and I dropped a couple of them, not just one. So and I was like, okay, and then I just started moving forward in Atlas, right? And I didn't get stuck at all. And I went all the way to tier 16 maps and did my regular map completion fully, right? It wasn't efficient, but I think it was worth doing just for the completion. So I went up to 16, did all the maps, had completion, my Atlas setup, and I started then I went actually down to yellow maps a little bit to farm up a couple of Kirak missions to get unique maps completion. That actually helped a lot as well. I got my unique maps, and then I started to farm low red tier maps, right? I didn't go to tier 14 maps yet because I didn't feel like I didn't have enough damage or clear speed. Survivability was okay, but the damage wasn't great, so that I can comfortably clear 16 maps and feel good about and good and efficient about it, right? Just keep in mind that I did the technology where you don't complete invitation, so I still got influence on every tier 11 map I did, right? So that's a little trick there. Of course I didn't get influenced maps where conqueror maps and so on. That was a downside, but I did get influences on those maps, right? So I stayed like for probably like a day there or something, more or less, to get just some better gear, get some better weapons. And when I felt my damage was a little bit better, I went up to tier 14 maps and I started farming those, set up a favored map system where you just have one map that can drop as a tier 14, and I just keep spamming that. And then my goal was to farm Glorious Vanity and of course get better gear, but Glorious Vanity was my priority. It was a big pain. That was the most painful part probably of all the leveling, because the build is not great at clearing monster packs that are like spread out a lot, right? So farming legions was just inefficient. Like we're talking about loot, it was not efficient, right? But really the Glorious Vanity was a really big stepping stone in survivability, so I just had to farm it, right? So not like farm it probably a day or two, right? It was just like pain. It was like really actually pain. And I did multiple timeless conflict thingies, and when I did drop my Glorious Vanity, I actually got another one from the bulk I did, but none of them were Doriani, and I was so sick of farming the Legion that I fucking used Divines on it, right? I divined it. I was like, I don't care, I'm gonna divine that. And I did get Doriani, and I was done. Unspec Legion, get rid of it. It's alright, right? So it's not for this build, so that's pain that you have to farm that with a build that's not good for that, right? But you know, it is what it is. So a couple of things general over the build that how I am playing is, first of all, like, I didn't run Onslaught. I didn't have Onslaught for a while, and it was like huge mistake, biggest mistake probably I did with this build so far. And when I anointed Onslaught, it feels so much better. So highly recommend getting Onslaught. Like, you clear faster, it feels better, you kind of safer because you move around faster as well. Just the best decision ever, right? At this point I'm level 97, managed to do that in the week. And just to mention, I played more or less all day, every day. Took a little vacation. So 97 is pretty good, I think. And at this point, if you tell me, can you do Ubers? I probably cannot do it. One of the main reasons is because I don't think I have enough damage for that. And talking about damage, I'm also not running a shield. You probably noticed in the, like from the background, I'm not running a shield. And the main reason I'm not running a shield is because my other weapon gives me 40% more damage, and I just don't feel like I can justify losing that, right? Because the damage right now is just like I feel like it's in like a sweet spot where the map clear is good. It's like, actually it's really good. It's not really good, but it's like above average, just like pretty good. And bossing is kind of, the bossing is not great, but you know, I don't feel like I'm spending too much time killing bosses, but now it takes a little bit, you know, have to keep move around a little bit, hit a couple of times, but it's not too bad, right? It's not too bad to kill the bosses, right? So losing 40% damage for a shield will feel really bad. I don't feel like I can justify right now. Besides, I managed to get to like level 97 without a shield, so my survivability is okay. One of the disappointments of the build I had is that the shock effect is really low. When I went into this build and thinking I'm gonna play it, I thought that, you know, I'm gonna big hit's gonna be big shock, and big shock is gonna be big damage, but that's not the case. Probably main reasons are just skill gems to scale ignite damage, just like burning damage and ignite proliferation, you know. Those don't really scale damage, but those scale damage with ailments, right? So, but shock needs damage, so my shock is to 5 to 10%, maybe more on some regular mobs, right? But just on bosses, 5 to 10%, which is not even worth scaling higher, right? So shock was a little disappointment. That's probably where I'm missing on damage. And another thing that with this build is that I actually need a lot of chaos resistance. I have 50 chaos resistance, and I still don't feel like I have enough chaos resistance, because like getting poisoned and chaos, I died from poison when I was it's kind of dumb, but I died from poison when I was leveling to 97, and anything that poisons or deals chaos damage just feels bad. I'm like, oh shit, I'm poisoned, I have to run away, right? So chaos resistance, I feel like, is very important. So the deaths I had leveling from 96 to 97, there was one stupid one, I don't remember what was that, but there was another one. Then I died to, I think Tora did the toxic rain, and I just stood in the toxic rain or moved into it, because I didn't realize it's delayed, and it just delayed, exploded me, and I just like dead super fast. And then I get a machine gun to it from the blue monsters, influence monsters that are just like the beams, you know, those beamy things. Those got me, because I was like, I didn't realize they're there. I went up to pick up an item, and I stood still, and and usually they don't do that much damage, so I was kind of surprised. I don't understand why that happened, really. And I didn't react fast enough. I didn't click enough flask fast enough, right? I might have survived if I did, right? So that's just overall of the build. So let me now log in, and I will show you my gear, and we'll go to point of building. I'll show you what I have done, why I have picked some stuff, and then maybe highlight some specific things. Alright, so I'm in the game. I'll quickly hover over my gear so you can see it, and if you need to take a look at something very specific, you can pause and see what's up. So first of all, let's go through the links I have. Here I have Determination, Temporal Change, and Blastberry. When I was checking PoE Ninja, I see a lot of people actually using instead of Elemental Weakness, which is like 15 to 20% more damage, but instead of doing that, I'm actually using Temporal Chains, but not using Shield. I think that's the trade-off, where they get damage from Elemental Weakness, I get damage for just having two weapons. And honestly, Temporal Change is so good. I can just freely move through the map and jump into monster packs without having to worry that they're gonna kill me. And one thing to keep in mind is that I don't run action speed maps. When there's a map modifier, action speed cannot be modified. I don't run that because of this, because I'll probably die if I do. That's why it's really good and important right there. Here I have flammability, vortex, life tap. One thing is that I keep my vortex at level 1 because I feel like it kind of costs, like this costs 29 life. And every 1.8 seconds, like the cooldown goes down, the life cost goes up, so I don't really feel like I see a lot of people did level 20, but I feel kind of bad that I'm gonna lose a lot of life regeneration just to use my vortex over and over again, right? And the chill effect doesn't really scale, it's just 10% base chill, so I'm keeping it level 1. Maybe that doesn't, I know the area increases as well, but I think it serves its purpose. It's alright. So malevolence, here I have regular molten shield, custom damage taken, regular flame dash, I use mana for that. Here I have an interesting setup where I'm using actually smite with additional accuracy. Usually people do this with resolution technique, so the attacks cannot be avoided, so you always hit using smite. This is a really good gem because you get damage from aura and choc chance, which is okay. With this gem, my accuracy is like 80 or to 90%, so I think it's really good, and I can just use this gem instead of going that side of the tree or picking that, right? And on top of that, I'm using elemental overload. My crit chance is very garbage, it's like 6%, but I'm hoping that in the future I will get a crit chance on my weapon or my shield if I get one, and then this will be more worth it, right? So that's my vision where I'm going with this accuracy support here, right? Because if I get like 10% crit chance, I think it's fine. I can do overload. I think it makes more sense, right? So faster attacks with leap slam, so I move faster. Here I have the Arcanist brand set up with Flame Surge, with so that it creates the ignited ground, burning ground from ignites, combustion, so a negative fire resistance, and then I have Frost Bomb. I was using something else there, but I just put Frost Bomb in so that, you know, less regen because I kind of need damage. And this is a replaceable gem that I'm considering that I could replace at some point. You probably noticed that I don't have any spell block on this build right now, and you are right, I don't have, like, I have 0. I didn't even pick this node for spell block, and I'm literally running with no spell block. But I think it's fine for now. If I would do some Ubers or something, then I think it will be more important to get that, but since I'm mapping right now, it just feels like too much of pain to craft spell suppression gear. And one of the reasons is that I mentioned before previously that I need a lot of chaos resistance, and my chaos resistance is not even, I need max chaos resistance, so I need chaos resistance, I need spell suppression, I need resistances, and just like kind of too much stuff. And you know, it's also, I feel like it's not the right play, but I feel like it's more efficient to scale energy shield, right? Because there's like a bunch of nodes in tree that on this side that give, like, I guess some, not bunch, that give bonuses to energy shield, right? So kind of makes sense. I have a lot of life, and like combined life and energy shield at 8,000 is pretty, I think it's pretty good. So currently I'm not doing spell suppression, but if I would do something like that, try to reduce spell damage, I'll probably get a shield and I will go spell block instead, because I think it will be easier, right? So if I would go spell block, or when I would switch to spell block, I would try to get a cluster jewel that will give mana reservation efficiency for malevolence, the small cluster jewel. I will get a little bit more mana. I will use Tempest Shield so I get 25 spell block, and then maybe try to get spell block on the shield, or pick some spell block nodes here, or the blocked ones here, or just go for the spell block nodes here, right? So that will be my spell block reduction really for mapping, more or less. That's if I would go shield, I'll probably switch to that and go that, and make spell reduction like that. But as I said, so far it doesn't feel that necessary yet. Another thing you might notice is that I went on this side of the tree, but in PoE Ninja a lot of people go down to this side. They are pretty much the same. The only difference, or the reason why I went this side, is because there are spell block nodes, and I was planning to eventually pick them up, right? But the important part of this part of the tree is just determination, and I can either get determination here, or I can get determination mana reservation efficiency here, right? So this is slightly better, I think, as well. This is a little bit better than this one, to be honest. But, you know, I went with this one. Not a huge difference there. So the last thing I wanted to do is to go over point of buildings configuration, so that you know what the damage, what the numbers consist of. Because, like, in theory, this number looks good, but in practice, it's very, very hard to achieve, and you have to fulfill multiple conditions, right? So here I go to configuration section and go over the settings that apply to this build, right? So first of all, life tap, this comes from skill gem. So this is pretty much always gonna be on because I'm spending mana, right? So if you're mapping, you're gonna have onslaught, or I have onslaught, so this is gonna be this difference, but I'm not. So during the bosses, I will not have onslaught, right? So I'm gonna be always in consecrated round, that's for sure. These don't matter. Then there's one important thing to keep in mind is cruelty, because I noticed that some bosses I really don't have maximum cruelty, right? So if I put 30 here, or if I put 40, there's a difference, right? So maybe when you do bosses, check your cruelty, how much damage you do, so that you know, okay, do you actually max effect from cruelty, right? If you don't get maximum effect from cruelty, you might want to consider picking off increased cruelty effect. Here, this mastery, or there's another mastery that I used previously before I got this jewel, which was here, right? So this was the best spot for the jewel. I didn't really want to put it here, but I mean, these two nodes happen to be pretty good, so I had to put it here, right? Then moving on to this side of the tree, so ignite, that enemy is gonna be ignited for sure, that's no question. Then shock effect, you have to check how much shock you have. I usually have like 5 to 10% shock, depending the boss situation or whatever. Then covered in ash, this gives a lot of damage, but this is very, very inconsistent, as the only thing that gives me ash is this fire mastery. That being said, and as you see, people have to hit me, and then it's 20% of the time, so I do get hit a lot by other monsters, so it sometimes fulfills. I do keep in mind there's also there's this war cry, I don't remember the name on the top of my head, but war cry that covers nearby enemies in ash. You might want to consider that to get your damage a little bit up more. And then consecrated ground, you have to stand next to an enemy or be on top of him in order to have this on, right? So something to keep in mind. So in order to reach the full DPS numbers you have here, you have to fulfill all of that. And on top of that, you have smite, which you have to hit, which is, this is 20% more damage. And on top of that, you also need to have the enemy Arcanist branded, so that they are combusted, so that they have Frostbomb, which reduces the regeneration, which is good, but more importantly, so that there's Flame Surge, right? So a lot of ticks and a lot of things have to really come together in order to achieve the maximum damage here. So that is it for me. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or you want to talk about some specific things, please leave them in the comments. I'll be glad to discuss the build details. And so, I mean, have fun in the league, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.